After luring my nominal stepbrother into bed, several lines of bullet comments suddenly floated before my eyes. Villainous supporting character. Get lost. Take your dirty hands off. The male lead belongs to the female lead. You just keep touching. Your hands will be chopped off. I am actually the cannon fodder female supporting character in a sweet romance novel. After forcing the male lead, I will be retaliated against by him and end up dying a tragic death on the street. The hand on the abdominal muscles trembled. This V-shaped abdominal muscles. Fit waist. Forget it. This flesh. It's better not to eat it. But the drug has already taken effect. The male lead turns around and traps me under him. Seeing that I can't escape the plot, I close my eyes and kiss him. York. I really like you so much. The male lead suddenly stops, grabs the back of my neck, and his face turns livid. Chloe. Say it again. York is the male lead's sworn enemy. One Jasper rubbed his forehead. There seemed to be some clarity returning to his eyes. I quickly took the opportunity to put some distance between us. Jasper stared at me intently. There was anger about to erupt between his brows. Chloe. Dare you say it again? Who did you mistake me for? I hung my head, not daring to meet Jasper's gaze at all. I almost wanted to bite my own tongue. In my moment of desperation just now, I actually called York's name. Everyone in Jingsu knows that Jasper and York are sworn enemies. I first grabbed my chin. I was forced to look into a pair of sinister eyes. An angry voice whispered in my ear. Chloe. Look at me and say it. The pitch-black eyes locked onto me tightly. The rough fingertip pressed against my lips. A chill rose from my spine and quickly spread throughout my body. At that moment, I felt that Jasper really would strangle me. I think no man can tolerate being called the name of his sworn enemy in bed. My mind was racing. Since I'm acting, I have to act to the end. I rubbed my eyes and looked at Jasper with a blank expression. Brother. You. Then I looked at my skirt that was half taken off. As if shocked, I suddenly widened my eyes and exclaimed, Brother. How could it be you? After a pause, I tried to remember something. Where's York? I clearly remember I was with York. To smoothly get through this hurdle, I had to take the initiative and pretend that I had mistaken the person. I think my acting should be good enough. Jasper was obviously stunned for a moment. The atmosphere in the room immediately became extremely strange. The force holding me gradually loosened. I trembled as I put on my half-slid skirt. Secretly, I pinched my thigh and burst out to tears. To be realistic enough, I inadvertently raised my head and revealed the kiss marks on my neck. Brother, can we just pretend that nothing just happened? Can you not tell York? I looked at Jasper with an expressionless face. Somehow, I felt a little flustered. In the next second, he darkened his face and his eyes were suddenly as cold as ice. So everything you did to me before, was it all just for York? I nodded vigorously like pounding garlic. Then I remembered that terrifying plot again. I was thrown in an abandoned warehouse. In disarray, like a discarded rag doll. Several wretched hoodlums surrounded me, tearing at my clothes. Jasper has said that he wants to make this woman wish she were dead. In a flash, my hands had been chopped off. The severed limbs were still covered with congealed brown blood. In the original book, I became resentful because of love. Because I kidnapped the female lead. I completely angered Jasper. So he wanted to make me wish I were dead. I was so scared that I looked up suddenly. But I saw Jasper's face was extremely ugly. I knew the drug effect was starting to work again. I quickly picked up my phone and dialed. Then I went to help Jasper. Brother? Jasper's whole face was so red that it seemed to be dripping blood. But he stubbornly shook off my hand. The ambulance arrived quickly. But at the same time, it also alerted Jasper's father. Jasper's father and mother soon followed and arrived at the hospital. What's wrong with Jasper? I lowered my head guiltily and mumbled without daring to speak. In the original book, after I forced Jasper, I also designed to let Jasper's father discover the scene. I wanted Jasper to be responsible for me. Jasper's father was very disappointed in me. My mother also lost face. So later, she divorced Jasper's father. But at that time, I was only focused on my scheme succeeding. I never thought that I had completely broken their hearts. Until Jasper woke up. I didn't dare to look into Jasper's father's eyes. Jasper. What's going on? Jasper glanced at me and didn't say anything. My heart immediately rose to my throat. According to how much Jasper hated me. As long as he told the truth, Jasper's father would completely despise me. Just when I thought Jasper would expose me, I heard him say, "It's nothing. I just ate something wrong at night." It was Chloe who sent me to the hospital. 3 to make up for my mistake. After Jasper's father and mother left, I took the initiative to stay and take care of Jasper. Jasper's gaze lingered on me for a long time, seemingly wanting to say something but hesitating. In the ward, there was a suffocating silence. "Brother, I know I was wrong." Jasper's face was filled with a look of suspicion. "Do you know who York is?" "Of course I know. York is the heir of the York family group. He is a well-known playboy in Jing City. I heard that he changes internet celebrities and young models several times a month. At the same time, he is also Jasper's sworn enemy." But at that time, my mind was not working properly. I just wanted to make Jasper stop quickly and didn't think of this at all. "When did it start?" Jasper stared at me deeply, remembering the ending in the plot where I would be cut off by Jasper. My scalp tingled. There was no choice but to start making up lies. Just when I first arrived at the Jasper family that year, Jasper's brows furrowed even tighter. I confessed to him, and was rejected. So I deliberately got close to you, just to make him jealous. Seeing Jasper's face getting uglier and uglier, I lowered my head even more. In fact, it was Jasper who I fell in love with at first sight. At the age of 16, my mother married into the Jasper family. And because of this, I followed my mother and lived in the Jasper family. On the first day, I entered the Jasper family. Jasper happened to come back from playing basketball. My mother pulled me to introduce people. "Chloe, this is Jasper, the son of Jasper's father. Call him brother." Under the setting sun, a teenager was wearing a white t-shirt and beige sports trousers. Looking tall and handsome, the halo of the setting sun shone through the treetops and scattered on Jasper in patches. Dazzling and eye-catching. At the moment our eyes met, my heart fluttered slightly, and I softly called out, "Brother." But now I just want to save my life and can only use your as a shield. The air pressure in the room was getting lower and lower. Just when I thought Jasper was about to get angry, the door of the ward was pushed open. "Jasper, are you okay?" The person who came was Cecilia, the heroine in the original book. Cecilia glanced at me, her expression slightly stunned. "I just happened to come to the hospital to see a friend. I accidentally saw Uncle and then knew you were sick." She was wearing a capable professional suit. Her long hair was coiled up, and there was a pearl clip on the side of her ear. She looked simple and beautiful. So Jasper likes girls like this. No wonder it was useless no matter how I flirted with him before. "Brother, you talk. I'll leave first." Without waiting for Jasper's answer, I ran out of the room like I was escaping. So you mean you haven't captured Jasper?" In the brightly lit bar, my best friend Ruan was shocked and leaned in front of me. "Have you been on a detox? How can you endure this? Is it Cecilia making trouble again? I'll deal with her for you." I quickly grabbed Ruan, who was indignant. Ruan knows clearly my secret that I like Jasper. I fell in love with Jasper at first sight. After I moved into the Jasper family, there was a little follower by Jasper's side. He would gently introduce me to his friends. "This is my sister Chloe." He would also stand up for me when I was wronged. "How dare you bully my sister? You're looking for death." He is 2 grades above me. When I was in my first year of high school, Jasper was already in his 3rd year. In order to be admitted to the same university as him, I studied hard all night. but fainted during class break due to being too tired. It was Jasper who carried me to the school infirmary. He held my hand, his eyes full of distress. From now on, brother will tutor you. He would pick me up from school without fail. Even if he was very busy, he would find time to explain questions to me. I thought Jasper also liked me. But since Cecilia appeared, everything has changed. 5 Cecilia is an intern at Fight and G Technology. I don't know when it started. Jasper often mentioned Cecilia in front of me. He said Cecilia was excellent and had good logical ability. He said Cecilia had strong work ability and high efficiency. Every time I went to the company to find Jasper, I would always run into Cecilia. During meals, Cecilia would suddenly come in and find Jasper to talk about work. I was left aside, watching Jasper and Cecilia chatting and laughing, with full tacit understanding. For no reason, I feel empty in my heart. Jasper had never smiled so gently at a woman other than me. Jasper himself didn't smile much. I used to think I was the exception. I had a vague ominous premonition. I started to flirt with Jasper on my own initiative. When he was explaining advanced mathematics to me, I deliberately sprayed perfume and wore a slip dress. Jasper looked away expressionlessly and just frowned. Chloe, I'm allergic to perfume. Later, I deliberately went into the wrong room. Jasper, who had just taken a shower, was standing at the door, wet all over. His black hair was dripping with water. As he raised his arm, his clear muscle lines were revealed. Looking down, his abdominal muscles were distinct in blocks, and there was only a towel wrapped around his waist. Brother. As soon as I spoke, Jasper's face darkened. Get out quickly. I was stunned by Jasper's roar and stood there stupidly, extremely embarrassed. Until the day I went to the office to find Jasper and accidentally heard Cecilia ask about the relationship between Jasper and me. Jasper hesitated, really treating her like a real younger sister. I stood at the door of the office, tears uncontrollably streaming down. So it's just a younger sister? Later, like I had lost my mind, I kept causing trouble for Cecilia. For the first time, Jasper scolded me. Chloe, can you stop being so unreasonable? But he used to call me Chloe. I don't know when even the address has changed. Jasper doesn't like me. I didn't understand before, but now I do. Because in the story setting, I am just an insignificant villainess. 6 I sniffed and held back the mist in my eyes. Ruan, don't you think I'm very bad? Ruan gave me a puzzled look. How could that be? You will always be the best, Chloe. She then curiously touched my forehead. There's no fever either. Why are you talking nonsense? Chloe, did you take the wrong medicine? Looking at Ruan, who was full of worry, I was more relieved. In the original plot, when I was cornered by Jasper's revenge, Ruan unconditionally helped me. But she was also retaliated by Jasper, and Ruan's family almost went bankrupt. I leaned my head on Ruan. Ruan, you are so kind. I don't want to like Jasper anymore. This kind of pestering is really boring. Since Jasper doesn't like me, I don't have to revolve around him. I won't even do things like drugging others, which are illegal and criminal acts. And I won't do those things in the original book like framing the female lead and kidnapping the female lead. Thinking of those sporadic bullet comments, I can't help but feel relieved. Fortunately, a big mistake hasn't been made yet. As long as I stay away from Jasper, I won't have my hands cut off. Ruan won't be retaliated against. Mom won't divorce Jasper's did either. Everyone will have a perfect ending. So, are you really determined not to chase after Jasper anymore? Suddenly, it felt like there was a lump of cotton stuck in my throat. Ucking dully. Well, I won't chase after him anymore. Ruan, I want to go abroad with you. Ruan's parents had arranged for her to go abroad for further studies long ago. At that time, she even asked me if I wanted to go together. But I only had Jasper in my heart, and never thought about going abroad. She was so happy that she almost jumped up. We can stay together. Let's raise our glasses to celebrate. I don't know how many glasses of wine I had. My vision was already a bit blurry. Ruan raised her glass and gave me a look. See that handsome guy over there? He seems to be looking at you all the time. Following Ruan's line of sight, I turned around. The person over there also raised his glass. It's actually York? Little sister Chloe. Where's your brother? York came over and looked around. Does he actually let you come to a place like this? It's really bringing up the wrong topic. Did you quarrel with your brother? Drinking so much. I gave him a blank look. He's too lazy to care about me. York raised his eyebrows at me and then sat down beside me in a nonchalant way. If you have something on your mind, tell me. Brother will definitely help you solve it. I can't help but find it a bit amusing. York seems to have always had an obsession. Since high school, he has always wanted me to call him brother. I carefully looked at York. Actually, he is very good-looking. He has a high nose bridge and a pair of peach blossom eyes. Lazy and unrestrained. He and Jasper are the two school heartthrobs of Jingsu High School. Their grades are always ranked first and second in the grade. Of course, Jasper is always first and York is second. People in the school naturally compare the two. But no matter how hard York takes the exams, he can't surpass Jasper. Finally, after graduating from high school, the two entered the same university. They are in different majors, and there is no direct competition. But in their senior year, they suddenly had a big fight. It is said that it was for a girl. Since then, the two have become sworn enemies and are even more at odds in the business projects of their families. In fact, York is not as bad as Jasper said. Somehow, Jasper's face suddenly flashed through my mind. Don't call him brother. I remember when I was a freshman. Once I went to Jasper's studio to look for him, but bumped into York, who was coming out. York immediately supported me. Little sister Chloe. Looking for your brother again? I'm also older than you. Call me brother and let me hear? I knew he was just teasing me. But Jasper got angry. He called me into the office and seriously reminded me. Chloe, York is not a good person. Stay away from him. Probably because of the alcohol. Jasper's voice always appeared in my mind. He doesn't like me but still wants to control me. It's so annoying. I decided that I will never listen to him again. He doesn't want me to get close to York. I will. Brother York. Let's drink until we're drunk. Hearing me call him brother, York's eyes lit up and he raised his glass with a half smile. Okay. Let's drink until we're drunk. He reached out and ruffled my hair. It's when your brother is not around that you are the cutest. When Ruan fell down, my vision was completely blurred. York took out his phone. I'll call your brother to pick you up. I pounced on him and interrupted him. Don't mention him. York helplessly put his arm around me. Okay. Okay. I won't mention him. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly rang out. York. Let her go. A Italian dizzying turn of events. I was suddenly pulled back forcefully by a force. My wrist was tightly grasped. And a familiar smell came over me. As I looked up, I met Jasper's dark and menacing eyes. Chloe. Stay away from him. Again, that commanding and unrefutable look. Why should I do whatever he tells me to do? Besides, my current persona is a little fangler who likes York. I shook off Jasper's hand and gave York a sweet smile. Brother York. Goodbye. Goodbye. My head was getting dizzy and dizzy. In a trance, I seemed to hear the sound of people arguing. You took her to drink? Just an elder brother. Aren't you being a bit too controlling? Besides, she is almost graduated. Isn't she? She is an adult. She has the right to make her own choices. Besides, you are not her real brother. Mind your own business. She is not someone you can toy with casually. A cold snort. How do you know I'm not serious? Jasper took me back to his apartment outside. In college. In order to make it convenient for me to come and find him. Jasper bought this apartment. I liked seeing him bustling around in the kitchen wearing a kitten apron. I also liked it when he pinched my face and I ate the meat in the bowl. What have you been eating at school? You are so thin. But how beautiful it was once. Now it is just as ironic. Those pasts that I thought were sweet are all sad memories. I won't go back. The strength on my wrist was getting tighter and tighter. And I couldn't break free no matter what. I was half dragged and half pulled upstairs by Jasper. Jasper was again scolding me with a stern face. A girl going to a bar so late at night. Don't you know how dangerous it is? Did you take my words as nothing? I snorted and argued with my head held high. I went with Ruan. Besides, Brother Yerk is there too. What danger could there be? A sharp pain came. And I almost screamed. Jasper actually spanked me. I am already 22. And I still have to be spanked. Whoa. Tears fell in big drops. Jasper's eyes were pitch black. Staring at me straight. As if trying to stare a hole in me. You are crying for him? After a long while. He asked me again. Chloe. Do you like Yerk so much? My head was groggy. I pursed my lips and didn't know how to answer his question. Although liking Yerk is just a guise. Since the words have been said. The act has to be played out to the end. I nodded dully. Like? There was another long silence. Is it him and no one else? For some reason, when Jasper asked me, I always felt that there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. Jasper bent down and pinched my shoulder, looking at me at eye level. Chloe, give me some more time. I will handle everything well. Chloe, don't like Yerk. Okay? In a trance. I suddenly met a pair of injured eyes. When Jasper asked me, there was actually a hint of humblance in his tone. But those bullet comments said that I am just a villainess. They said that I am coveting the male lead, and won't have a good ending. But why am I the villainess? I am just liking someone. I cried even harder. Anyway, I was drunk. I smeared tears and snot all over Jasper. When I was tired from crying, I unknowingly fell asleep. In a daze, I knew that Jasper was helping me wash up. So careful and so gentle. When the phone rang, I heard a crying female voice. It was Cecilia. Jasper's gaze at me was full of apology. Chloe, rest well. I'll be back soon. Immediately after was the sound of the door closing. Warm water stains quietly seeped into the pillow. I knew that Jasper would not come back again. Love is really too bitter. I almost softened my heart. 10 from that day on. Jasper didn't return to the old house for a whole month. And I also moved my things out of Jasper's apartment. I mentioned to my mother my idea of studying abroad. My mother was very supportive. But soon my mother still noticed something was wrong with me. Chloe, why haven't you been sticking to Jasper recently? And Jasper hasn't come back for so long. Did you two have a fight? In the past, as soon as there was a holiday, I would always run to Jasper's company and wish to be with Jasper every day. But now, I haven't been there for a month. He is your elder brother. Although your father Jasper dotes on you, you can't be too willful. While mumbling, my mother stuffed an insulated lunchbox into my hand. This is the pork rib soup made by Mom. Your brother likes it the most. Without giving me a chance to refuse, my mother had already forced me into the car. I knew what my mother meant. Ever since she got married, she especially hoped that Jasper and I could have a good relationship. But the relationship between Jasper and me is already as bad as it can be. When I arrived at Jasper's office, there was no one there. People in the company said that he had gone to a meeting. I wanted to put the pork rib soup on his desk, but I was refused entry. A little assistant sized me up for a moment and curled up a sarcastic corner of her mouth. Sister Cecilia said that from now on, idlers are not allowed to enter General Jasper's office. If important documents are lost, we can't be responsible. I was about to refute when Cecilia appeared. Molly, you go down first. Immediately after, Cecilia turned her head and looked at me with a smile. Jasper is in a meeting. You can go in and wait for him. I'll go and tell him. Suddenly there was a dull pain in my heart. Is Cecilia declaring sovereignty? Has Cecilia and Jasper become so close already? Now even the people in Jasper's company don't like me anymore. If it were the me in the past, I would definitely be sarcastic and have a big fight with Cecilia. But now I don't want to have unnecessary disputes at all. I have been to Fight and G Technology many times. But now I can barely enter the door of Jasper's office. This time, let's just say goodbye to the past. I replied with a yes. Put the pork rib soup on the table. And left soon. Anyway, as long as the task assigned by my mother is completed. I don't know why, but I always have a bad premonition. Cecilia's look at me is a bit strange. But I can't tell exactly what's strange. 11 facts have proved that my premonition is still very accurate. A week later, Ruan and I were checking in at the airport. Several people in police uniforms came up to me. Miss Chloe, someone reported that you stole the design drawing of Fight and G Technology Company. Please come with us. The design drawing of Fight and G Technology? Ruan blocked in front of me with a worried look. How could Chloe steal the design drawing? You must have made a mistake. Chloe, let's go find Jasper. You are his sister. How could you steal the design drawing of their company? I gave Ruan a reassuring look. It's okay. You board the plane first. I'll come to you after I finish my business. When we arrived at the police station, Cecilia and Jasper were already inside. There were also groups of reporters outside. I heard that the design drawing of Fight and G Technology was leaked, resulting in a loss of tens of millions. Cecilia was crying like a pear blossom with rain. Jasper was whispering something, seemingly comforting her, accompanied by a low cough. Jasper didn't look at me at all from beginning to end. Chloe, how could you leak the company's design drawing? Do you know how important that design drawing is? I pulled my suitcase and suddenly laughed. Cecilia's means of framing me are not very clever. Is the heroine in this book so stupid? What evidence do you have that I stole it? Because you entered Jasper's office that day. And then the design drawing was leaked inexplicably. Oh, just because I entered Jasper's office. You say it's me. What's the evidence? Cecilia was slightly stunned and seemed surprised that I could be so calm. After all, destroying a person only needs a word of hearing or, allegedly. Whether I did this or not. The moment the police took me away, I was already in the whirlpool of public opinion. Even if the matter is finally clarified, those onlookers simply won't care about the final consequence. But you were the only outsider who entered Jasper's office that day. I sneered. Then I also have reason to suspect that you are stealing while in charge. Right? Then are dull employees who know about this design drawing worthy of suspicion? It was Cecilia's turn to be speechless. Our company's employees will not leak company secrets. I retorted. Then how can you prove it? Cecilia's face turned pale and then pale again. She raised her head and looked at Jasper pitifully. Jasper, it's all my fault for losing the design drawing. A suspicious look fell on me. It's not your fault. The police will investigate this matter clearly. The person who stole the design drawing will pay the price. My heart sank completely. Right. As long as the heroine appears, there will be no place for me in Jasper's eyes. He will not believe what I say even more. But clearly deciding to let go. Why can't I help but have expectations? I looked coldly at the two people in front of me. If there are any more questions, please talk to my lawyer. I won't accompany you anymore. Also, because of you too, I missed the plane. Please pay for my air ticket. Jasper suddenly raised his head, looking incredulous. Our gazes met in the air. In his eyes, there was also a sadness that I couldn't understand. I remember this plot. In the plot, it clearly says that I framed Cecilia for leaking company secrets. But now I haven't done anything. Why have I become the one being framed? I seem to understand this plot less and less. 12 I booked a new plane to the UK. But when boarding the plane, I saw Jasper. He was standing straight in the crowd. with broad shoulders and a narrow waist, and a tall and straight posture, just like on the day we first met. I was immediately firmly attracted by him at first sight. But at that time, he was full of vigor and unrestrained. And now he looks so tired. Must you go? As soon as the words fell, a red trace suddenly appeared under Jasper's nose. He actually had a nosebleed. Brother. You. Jasper interrupted my words and curled up a smile. It's okay. Chloe. Remember to come back early. After saying that, Jasper didn't look at me anymore and turned to leave. A sudden urgent doubt exploded in my mind. My heart was pounding. Suddenly I felt very flustered. After Jasper left me to find Cecilia that day, I found bloody tissues in the trash can. Jasper doesn't seem to have a nosebleed for the first time. And that day at the police station, Jasper coughed violently. When did his body become so bad? I hurriedly chased after him. But I saw Cecilia. She was affectionately holding Jasper's arm. The two stood side by side. Extremely well matched. My feet seemed to be fixed in place and I couldn't move a step. I stood in the bustling airport lobby and suddenly burst into tears. When the boarding announcement sounded, my thoughts suddenly came back. Cecilia is Jasper's heroine. And I am just an unnecessary supporting role. 13 time in the UK passed quickly. In a blink of an eye. 3 years passed. Rowan and I completed all our studies. In these 3 years, I haven't contacted Jasper. Rowan never mentioned him in front of me either. But occasionally I can still see someone post his updates on moments. For example, on the day Fightin' G technology went public, Jasper attended a press conference. In the photo, Jasper and Cecilia were smiling brightly. The news all said they were a talented man and a beautiful woman. Another example is that someone took a picture of Jasper climbing the 3-0 step Puyo temple. Counting every 3 steps. I just took a look and turned off my phone. On the day I returned to China, I didn't tell anyone. Rowan was picked up by Ruin's family car. I refused Ruin's invitation, stood by the roadside and took a taxi, wanting to see the changes in Jingsu over the years. Suddenly, there was a sharp pain in the back of my head, and I fell down softly. When I woke up again, I found myself lying in an abandoned warehouse. Beside me was also Cecilia, who was tied up. Cecilia's hands were tied and her mouth was gagged. She was looking at me in horror. The memory of the plot suddenly emerged. This seemed to be the warehouse where I kidnapped Cecilia in the original plot. I was so shocked that I almost jumped up. In the next second, my body seemed out of control. I actually slowly picked up the knife on the ground. I pressed the knife close to Cecilia's face. The sinister expression seemed to be poisoned. It's all because you took my brother away. I will destroy you. Aren't you very beautiful? Then I will scratch your face. I looked at my hand in shock. It seemed completely out of my control. With a loud bang, the door behind was forcefully knocked open. And Jasper came in at this time. What are you doing? Jasper's eyes were gloomy and his voice was full of anger. The gaze looking over was like a sharp blade, piercing me instantly. When did you become so vicious? Yes. It's exactly the same as the plot discussed in the barrage. I angrily scratched Cecilia's face. And Jasper had someone cut off my hand. My heart seemed to sink to the bottom in an instant. I thought that as long as I quit and stay away from Jasper, all this could be avoided. But now everything is back to the original point. I still can't escape the fate of being cut off both hands by Jasper. So, since this is the case, I raised the knife in my hand again. Do it, Jasper. If you don't do it, I will immediately scratch Cecilia's face. But Jasper in front of me hesitated. He looked straight into my eyes. His fists clenched tightly, and his eyes were full of entanglement. After a moment, he also raised the knife in his hand. I closed my eyes and waited for my ending. Finally, the sound of a sharp blade piercing flesh rang out. But the expected pain did not come. I opened my eyes and saw a knife stuck in Jasper's chest. Fresh blood gushed out. There was a buzzing sound in my ears and my vision was blurred. Jasper's body fell heavily to the ground. I rushed over but touched a handful of blood. It seemed that a piece was suddenly hollowed out in my heart. Jasper. Why? The person in my arms raised his hand with difficulty. Chloe. Don't be afraid. Brother will never hurt you. 14. The injured person's eyes are scattered and immediate surgery is needed. Prepare for blood transfusion immediately. Jasper was pushed into the operating room. I sat outside the operating room, my body trembling uncontrollably. Cecilia stood in front of me, smiling strangely. Chloe. Look. This is the ending you want. He would rather commit suicide than hurt you in the slightest. But do you really think he can resist fate? Cecilia told me everything. She is a strategist from another world. Her task is to capture Jasper. But no matter how much effort she put in, she could never enter Jasper's heart. She said that Jasper could only see me in his eyes forever. To complete the task as soon as possible, she exchanged for props. So, I died in a car accident. Jasper has been in a slump ever since. Drinking and smoking. Long-term all-night insomnia has caused his physical condition to deteriorate rapidly. He has turned himself into a puppet. But later, Jasper somehow restarted the world. Everything fell into a cycle. In every life. I will die soon. Plane crash. Car accident. Having both hands cut off. Jasper can only watch me disappear before his eyes. Jasper has tried all methods but still can't get out of the cycle. He restarted a full 9 times. Cecilia was still talking. But I couldn't listen to a single word. The light in the operating room was on all the time. I raised my head. Will he die? I don't know either. 15. Jasper was admitted to the intensive care unit. For a whole month. He didn't wake up. Jasper's father seemed to have aged 10 years. Until the system took the initiative to find me. An electronic screen appeared in front of me. On the screen, Cecilia was tied up again. Several wretched gangsters surrounded her and kept tearing at her clothes. As long as you press the button, the heroine will be raped and killed. I'll let you be the heroine of this world. I shook my head. Don't you want to kill her? In previous lifetimes, it was she who exchanged items and caused you to die a tragic death. Now I give you a chance, and you can take revenge. The system's voice sounded a bit hysterical. Heh, he's anxious. I still firmly refused. I will never be controlled by you. Cecilia has made mistakes. She can be expelled from the company, sent to prison, or sentenced to death. She can accept any punishment, but not being violated. If you don't do it, then Jasper will only die. I laughed softly. It doesn't matter. I will always be with him. If Jasper isn't afraid, I'm not afraid either. I know a lot of things about Jasper. He fought with Yerk because Yerk jokingly said he wanted to chase after me. Jasper didn't dare to approach me because he was afraid that I would die in front of him again. He endured and didn't approach me. But he panicked when Yerk appeared. That night he forcibly took me back home. Because of the system's punishment, he had a nosebleed. He was afraid that he would die and made a will early. When the lawyer put that will in front of me, I cried uncontrollably. I, Jasper, am willing to donate all my property and equity under my name to Ms. Chloe for free. I never wanted any property. I don't want anything. The only thing I want is for Jasper to wake up. But such a simple wish is very distant. But it doesn't matter. Even so, I will always wait for him. 16. Since I refused the system that day, Cecilia suddenly seemed to have changed into a different person. She mysteriously leaned close to my ear. I've done so many tasks. This is the first time I failed so miserably. For the first time, I realized that I thought I could control everything. But I couldn't control Jasper's love. I raised my head and found that Cecilia's gaze had changed a lot. There was no longer the uncomfortable feeling as before. My eyes lit up. So, yes, I've awakened too. Originally, I was just a tool controlled by the system. According to the plot, He will punish me. That time when I knew you were leaving, I found an excuse to let the police keep you. I didn't want to frame you. I suddenly understood. No wonder I thought Cecilia at the police station that day was very stupid. She hugged me and cried loudly. Chloe, do you know that Jasper has killed me 9 times? 9 times. I really don't want to enter the cycle with him again. I used all my points to exchange for giving up the task. I'm leaving soon. A month later, Jasper finally woke up. I was overjoyed and burst into tears, tightly holding Jasper's hand. According to Cecilia, in these 3 years, Jasper has suffered from insomnia all night long. The system seems to have really disappeared because when Jasper is with me, he no longer has a nosebleed. His body is gradually getting better. I once asked him what he prayed for at Putuo Temple. Jasper smiled and refused to speak. Actually, I secretly looked at the fortune-telling slip at Putuo Temple. The person with the signature Jasper only wrote 1 sentence. May my girl be safe and happy, and have a smooth life. So, I picked up a pen and wrote a sentence at the back. She will definitely. You are an unexpected encounter for me. Also a sudden joy. Because of you, she will definitely be safe and happy and have a smooth life. 17 Cecilia disappeared from our world. Jasper said that she went abroad. But I know that Cecilia will never come back. Jasper confessed his love to me. 1 day later, I asked Jasper, but you seemed to hate me very much before and even told me to get out. Jasper gave me an incredulous look. When did I tell you to get out? I bit my lip. That time when I broke into your room. At this point, Jasper pinched my face hard. How old were you at that time? Obviously already an adult. He lowered his eyes to look at me. And his eyes darkened. Chloe, I've been waiting for you to grow up. I tilted my head. But isn't Cecilia the heroine? Why don't you like her at all? You didn't come to work at the company when I asked you to. What on earth are you thinking about all day long? If I say I want to go to Brother York's company. Before I could finish speaking, my lips were blocked. Our lips and teeth intertwined. Jasper's passionate breath sprinkled on my face. I seemed to remember that there was something left unfinished before. Don't you dare call me by the wrong name again this time. I will really strangle you. In a corner I didn't notice. The barrage of comments started chattering again. It seems that ever since the supporting female character awakened, everything has been different from what's in the book. I saw the author issue a statement. She said that as she was writing, the characters broke free from the plot and were no longer under her control. Impossible. Why is it impossible? Perhaps each of us is just a thin and flat character in a novel. One day, suddenly we gain self-awareness, desperately struggling to grow flesh and blood, just to no longer be controlled by the script. Our whole life is about getting rid of others' expectations and finding our true selves. A person's greatest courage is to dare to resist the external negation. Life is not a preset script. Only you can decide what your future will be. The end.